He walked alone every Sunday morning, always just before sunrise, moving with the quiet rhythm of someone easily overlooked. No uniform, no salute, just a worn green jacket, a thermos tucked under one arm, and a stillness that lingered long after he passed. Most of the young Marines on base assumed he was a groundskeeper or a retired staffer, someone harmless, forgotten, part of the background, until one of them, Reyes, caught a glimpse of the old man's forearm when the wind lifted his sleeve. It wasn't flashy, but it stopped Reyes cold. Because that wasn't a tattoo you got for style. It was earned, marked by blood, not ink. And what it meant changed everything. Before we continue this powerful story, tell me in the comments, where in the world are you watching from today? And if you believe stories like this need to be heard, hit the subscribe button to support Hidden Sparks. The wall stood at the far edge of the base, just past the barracks and motor pool, in a quiet stretch where the wind always seemed slower. It wasn't a monument with marble statues or gold lettering, just a long, matte black slab etched with hundreds of names. No music played there, no flags flapped dramatically, just silence. And every Sunday, just before dawn, the old man arrived, like clockwork. No one saw him drive in. He was just there, standing still, hands in his pockets, head slightly bowed. He never touched the wall, never brought flowers, never sat. He simply stood in front of the same panel, the same spot. Then, after 20 minutes, he'd turn and leave without a word. Same jacket, same boots, same thermos under one arm. A quiet loop, never broken. At first, most Marines didn't even notice him. They were too busy with formations, chow runs, weekend rotations. Those who did assumed he was maintenance or a civilian contractor. He never wore a name tag, never saluted, never spoke. A few joked he was a ghost, some relic who hadn't realized the war was over, but one Marine watched closer. Private First Class Luis Reyes, 19 years old, sharp-eyed, raised on whispered stories of Vietnam. When he saw the old man standing alone at dawn, something stuck. The stillness, the routine, the way no one else even looked. Reyes started noticing more. The old man's straight but never stiff posture, his polished but aged boots, his dented thermos, the kind passed down, not bought, and the wall, always the same panel. Section 3, row 5. Reyes checked once. 7 names there, all from 1970. He didn't mention it. He just started showing up earlier on Sundays, watching quietly. There was something in the man's silence that said he hadn't come for company. Then came the morning the wind picked up. Reyes paused at the edge of the trees near the wall. The old man was already there, head tilted toward the granite. A sudden breeze lifted his sleeve just an inch, and Reyes saw it. The tattoo. Not loud or bold, just 5 numbers, a triangle, and a symbol he couldn't place. It didn't look modern, not a unit slogan, not a rank, just old, heavy. Later, Reyes sketched it on a receipt. His sergeant barely glanced at it. Some Cold War thing, maybe classified, best not to dig, but Reyes couldn't let it go. After hours searching, he found an old veterans forum. One reply stood out. Delta 7, Mac VSOG, Laos, 70, don't ask again. The next Sunday, Reyes stepped closer. The old man didn't turn. But Reyes saw the tattoo clearly now, the pale, weathered skin, the sharp, simple ink. That triangle wasn't decoration. It was a designation. Reyes cleared his throat. "Sir, was that Delta 7? The old man didn't move, at first. Then, slowly, he turned just enough to meet Reyes's eyes. The silence hung like a weight. "Once," he said, just that one word. Then he turned back to the wall. For Reyes, it was enough to know this man wasn't a ghost. He was history, still walking. Soon others noticed. Another Marine, Buckner, paused nearby. Then a third, a fourth. By the third Sunday, Over a dozen Marines stood in respectful silence before sunrise. No orders, no formation, just presence. Then came the morning Reyes asked, "Sir, who are they?" The old man's voice was low. "My brothers? We dropped in together. Only one came out. He'd carried 3 men from an ambush. 2 made it, 1 didn't. The rest were gone before the gunfire stopped. They gave me a medal I didn't want, buried the report, told me to move on. So I did. I came here every Sunday for 53 years. Why?" "Here?" Reyes asked. "Because their names are here," he said. "Even if mine isn't." Reyes stepped closer. "Sir, what's your name?" The old man pulled out a weathered coin. On one side, Delta 7. On the other, "Still here, Staff Sergeant Samuel Greer, 1st Recon, SOG." He pressed the coin into Reyes's hand. Time for someone else to know what it means. As Greer walked away, the Marines parted silently. No salutes, just nods. The next Sunday, something had changed. Over 20 Marines gathered at the wall. No announcement, no orders. They just came. Some left tokens, dog tags, challenge coins, unit patches. Greer didn't stop them. He stayed a little longer. And when he left, he met each Marine's eyes, just for a second. From that day on, the wall was never empty again. Greer never boasted, never wore his medals. He just showed up, standing before 7 names etched in stone. Men he never stopped carrying. For decades, no one noticed. Until one Marine looked close enough to see past the silence. Now young Marines gather not because they're ordered to, but because they feel something sacred in that space. Because sometimes history doesn't speak. It waits to be recognized. Have you ever met someone like that? Someone who carried a story no one else could tell? Say their name in the comments. Let others know they mattered. And if you believe stories like this need to be remembered, hit subscribe to support Hidden Sparks. Because not all heroes live in history books. Some just show up every Sunday and wait for someone to notice.